Welcome to today's show. Whether you're watching on television or through our YouTube channel, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications. My guest today is a member of the most successful pop music girl group since the Supremes. The singer-songwriter with the movie star looks, the beautiful Anita Pointer, joins me with her brother, Fritz Pointer, discussing their brand new book, Fairy Tale, The Pointer Sisters' Family Story. So now let's jump to it. Well, today I have two incredible people that I'm welcoming to this show that I'm so excited about. And I just can't hide it. And,
that'll work.
and that actually wasn't planned. That just kind of rolled off. But I have the original Pointer sister, Miss Anita Pointer, and I have her brother, Professor Fritz Pointer. And we're going to be discussing their new book. It's called Fairy Tale, The Pointer Sisters' Family Story.
Yes.
And there's so much to discuss on this, and it's really exciting. What is the website that you would like people to go to buy the book, or just any bookstore that you prefer?
They can go to anitapointer.com,
Okay.
thepointersisters.com,
And Amazon.
and Amazon, and Barnes and Noble, I believe.
This is a story that I know everyone is going. I'm excited about it. I'm very excited.
Oh, it's an exciting story.
It really is. I mean, you've the Pointer Sisters, 3 Grammys, hit songs like "Jump for My Love," "I'm So Excited," "Neutron Dance," "He's So Shy," "Slow Hand." We grew. If you were in the 80s, you were jamming to everything that the Pointer Sisters did, and they brought fashion, they brought harmony, true entertainment back when people actually had to sing.
Right.
And had to earn their Grammys, and
Yes,
and
that's something.
harder terrain to try, to break through. What made you guys decide to write the book together as sister and brother? I know it's the family story, but what you two together, what were you trying to accomplish with it other than just the history of the group?
Well, I wanted it to be a family story,
Yeah.
And my brother Fritz is a writer. He's written several books. And I knew he'd be the perfect partner for me to write with. So we wanted to get, we talked about it for, quite a long time, years. And finally we got it down and got a publisher. And
Anita had several interviews with different people who were interested before in doing a movie and doing a play. And so she had done several interviews over years, actually. And then she, turned those over to me, those discs, and I, transcribed them. And then every day for, I guess, a couple of years, we would talk back and forth. I would let her know what I've, thought about, where we should, what direction we should go, and she would respond. I would write something and send it to her. She would correct it and send it back to me, and I'd write it
and vice versa.
And write it again. And so it was really quite a chore over several years. But the idea of doing a family story, we talked about, because we wanted to include more than just one person. We wanted it not to be about just Anita or just Bonnie.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. By the way, what a beautiful picture of Bonnie there. I just love that.
Oh, thank you. I love it too.
Oh, my goodness.
That's my baby.
Oh,
so
she
beautiful.
brings back such wonderful memories. Such
I know.
Memories. And we wanted to tell a story that was a collective story. We thought that as a family, we had gone through so much together. And, from 15 of us living in one house.
Right.
I read that and I was like,
a happy house.
Yeah, and being happy, no fighting among each other, none of that, just a happy, disciplined household. Our father,
exactly.
No chaos, no loud talking and cursing and none of that.
No smoking or drinking either.
And yeah, right. It was quite a different image from many of the stories I hear today about the fatherless homes and single parents.
I know.
We didn't have single parents.
Don't have that.
God, it made a difference in our lives.
Doesn't it though? I'm telling you, it really does.
Makes such a difference in our lives,
It does, and your parents were
makes you be better parents.
Yes, they were professionals, correct? They were ministers.
Yeah, they're both ministers.
Yes, they were both ministers.
So you grew up in the church. By the way, your mother must have had such a wisdom to give you such a name, Professor. I mean, Professor Fritz Pointer. There is not a name more, fitting for a professor than Fritz Pointer. What a strong name!
Thank you, Larry. That comes over from my grandfather, my mother's father.
Yeah. Right. We have a granddaddy Fritz.
Yeah, Granddaddy Fritz. And also my mother had a brother named Fritz.
Who died
early. And he died in his 20s, I think. And so we want another Fritz.
Well,
so here
it's perfect. I mean, it's an amazing name, especially with Professor.
Larry. I think it's unusual. I don't hear it a lot.
I saw an interview, I believe that you were, Anita, were speaking in this interview about the brothers were the stars of the family growing up in the neighborhood because they were so popular in school and ball and everything. Is that correct?
That's right, in sports.
Yes. So you were little superstars in your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah, and my brother went on to become a professional baseball player after going to University of San Francisco. And our cousin, Paul Silas, was also a major, basketball
athlete, yes.
Who played for the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns. And I didn't go to professional basketball, but I was given an offer when I was at Creighton University. I was sent letters by the St. Louis Hawks and the Harlem Globetrotters. And
We could have gone into pro ball.
Detroit Pistons. But that just wasn't my, I had a mentor and an advisor, an older brother, friend, very close, like a brother, who advised me rather to go to graduate school.
Yeah, you became a star of academia.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
So I'm glad I took.
Yeah, growing up for sure, they were the stars of Oakland. They were the stars. Nobody knew. We were the Pointer. We were Fritz and Aaron's sisters. That's it. No names.
Well, and I would assume that with your parents being ministers and so much of your early life, especially being in the church, that kind of shaped how you became as human beings and your love for music. And, a lot of our greatest singers and musicians have all had that one thing in common of coming from the church. Was that something that you feel nudged you into the music for a career, or did you ever even think about that? Did you just think, oh, we're singing and we're having a good time in church and never dream of...
I dreamed of it being a career. I would go into my room and play Aretha Franklin and Dionne Warwick and Gladys Knight and play their song, Etta James, and be, just, I'd listen and sing until I would cry. Just loving it so much and feeling like, it would be a dream come true if anything could ever happen that I could be able to sing professionally. It would be like, the ultimate. And that's how I felt about it. I never really thought it would happen.
Yeah.
I never really, completely thought it would happen.
I think the sensitivity, the church provided the kind of infrastructure, the training. I mean, it's the best training ground in the world. I mean,
it is.
Because we had a choir director who put us in positions. You're a soprano, you're an alto, you're a tenor, you're a bass. And get off my note. Don't sing my note.
Right.
That's my note.
That's how we were.
That's how they were. So and learning what that note was and where you belonged in an ensemble was very, very important important to developing as professionals, I think. And,
did the brothers...
also the feeling you have to put into a song. It was not enough to just stand there and sing. You had to make people move. People had to be touched by your songs. And I can hear Anita's voice even now as she talked about listening to music and crying. I would go and ask her, why don't you have music in your house playing sometime? She said, well, because certain combinations of notes make me cry.
It really does.
Yes.
It does.
I said, wow.
I don't listen to a lot of music at home.
And you know, I find that even in my poetry, I've been, when I would read poetry, certain poems that I would read in class, in my literature class, I'd break down crying. I just break down crying. I couldn't get through the poem because the poem had such meaning to me.
Yeah.
That I just couldn't get through it without weeping. And every time I try to hold back, I'm not going to cry this time. And every time I'd read a particular poem, and so I think, you know, sensitivity to words, to sensitivity to sounds and to tones and to music was so important to our, and particularly their formative years. But I think gospel couldn't contain them. They couldn't be contained by gospel.
Not the way it was back then. Now with Kirk Franklin and these other young guys, they're doing a whole another kind of gospel, the kind we wanted to do in the 50s.
That's right.
But they said, no, it's too whirly. Your singing is too jazzy and too whirly. You can't sing like that in church.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you had to tighten it up and sing from the hymn books.
Well, you couldn't
no tambourine. No tambourines in
sorry.
church. So I'd go home and get the mama's pots and pans, the pie pans, and make me a tambourine.
Yeah. But in secular music wasn't allowed in your home, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Only gospel.
Only gospel music.
That's
that was on Sunday because we only had one. That was the day of the week it came on. Sunday, every Sunday. And the radio was in Daddy's room right by his bed. So you better not touch it. So he would bring it out of the room on Sundays and put it in the kitchen so everybody can listen to gospel.
Well, you know, I love the title of the book, Fairy Tale, because I know it comes from the song that you wrote, Anita wrote, Fairy Tale. And that song was so special for so many reasons. Of course, me being in Nashville, I find it so interesting because, you know, you became the first Grammy. Your first Grammy was for a country music song.
And we recorded that song in Nashville.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yes, we did. We went to Nashville and got the Opry players to come and play on our tracks. And we recorded it right there in Nashville. I believe it was Quad Studios. I believe that's the name.
Yeah, that's still there.
Quad still there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I used to have a picture of me in a t-shirt that said all Quad's children.
Yeah. I love that.
I had a t-shirt that said, I wish I wore my shirt.
Moved. I don't know if it was ever like, I don't know what location and if it's in its original location or not, but I do know Quad is still there. Yeah. I'm a music producer.
That's amazing. Wow. Because David Rubinson took us there and he said, I want this to be authentic because you guys wrote a real country song here.
Yeah. And you sang it so well.
And we sang it. We loved it. We got a Grammy Award, the first Black group to ever get a Grammy for a country song. And the first to ever play the Grand Ole Opry.
What was that like?
And then, it was like
you want to start at the beginning, or do you want to start with the arrival in Nashville?
Yes. I know the time period. I mean, that was like.
Oh, okay, Anita. Well, that's Anita's story. So what happened when you arrived in Nashville?
When we got there, I know the airport that there were some people there, and when we got to the Grand Ole Opry, actually, David told me about this later. He said there were protesters. Out there trying to keep, the signs were saying, keep country, country. And they just whisked us past these signs and the people and got us into the Opera House. And I swear I didn't see it. David said they were out there.
You didn't see it, protesting.
I was so nervous and so excited. to get in there and do this. Oh God. And
so
we were the only, on what we're doing. This is making history here.
Yes.
I was just surprised that they didn't make more to do. I guess if we had internet and YouTube and all that stuff back then, maybe someone would have heard about it. But they didn't really promote it at all. I also have some good friends in Nashville I want to mention.
Sure.
Terry and Steve Diamond. Do you know them?
I know the names, yes. I don't know them personally, but I know the names.
Okay. Well, Terry was the head of A&R at RCA when I was there. Mm-hmm. And Steve is her husband. And we got together a couple of years ago and we started this song called Feels Like June. And we wrote this song for June, for our sister June. And it's on Spotify and YouTube and all that too right now. But it's called Feels Like June. And Carrie Diamond was the executive producer and Steve Diamond was the producer, and me and Bonnie were the writers.
Yes, that's awesome.
And the writing of, and Steve was part writer too as well. But oh my God, it's just such a beautiful song. I'm so happy to have that connection with them.
Yeah, the person you did, was it, you said you have the dress in the Nashville Museum?
Oh, Earl Thomas Conley. I did some things with Earl Thomas Conley. We were on several shows. We went to Nashville and performed on different shows, and we were presenters at the CMAs one year.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so happy. But they have a new museum in Nashville that just opened in February.
Yes.
National Museum of African American Music.
Yes.
And I have an exhibit in there.
I can't wait to see it. I've been waiting to get the second COVID shot. I covered some of their events as well.
Did you?
And it's so appropriate for it to be here because we had a large African American music community here before the Grand Ole Opry was even started. I mean, or was big time. One of the first Grand Ole Opry stars was a Black gentleman.
What?
Yes, and
not Charlie Pride.
No, way before D. Ford Bailey, and he played harmonica. But when they started doing the live audiences,
they didn't want to see his face.
Okay, because it was all radio for a long time.
Kind of like Nat King Cole.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he ended up coming back once after it was started to be on television. He ended up this is a movie to me. I think he's in the Hall of Fame now, but he ended up shining shoes just distance from the Grand Ole Opry house or the Ryman Auditorium. But he did come back and they reconciled that. And
it's kind of like I mentioned Nat King Cole. I read a report where a woman, when she discovered he was Black, she broke up all her Nat King Cole records. She had all of his records, and then she found out he was Black. And said, "Oh no!
Oh God!
Oh,
like Charlie Pride, they wouldn't put his picture on the cover of his albums in the beginning."
Wow. Contribution to jazz. That is the continuity of Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and that whole genre that we find very little of today. The only person I can think of offhand is Diana Krall.
And you all won the Billie Holiday Award, correct, for jazz excellence. Am I wrong on that? But it seems like I think
they did win.
We did win the Billie Holiday Award when we were in France.
In France, yes, I think it was in Paris. Yes.
And we won the Playboy Award, Jazz Award.
Yes. Was that first one of the scenes in our book is we say it's four Billie Holidays on stage. And then all of a sudden in that first scene, there's a band member or two wearing Klan uniforms in the background.
Yeah, our first show, the guitar player and one of the other players had on Ku Klux Klan suits behind us on stage.
Larry's eyes.
Can you imagine that?
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. We kept on singing. Didn't look back. Just don't look back.
Literally or figuratively.
Right.
See, one of the elements I bring to our story is that political history, because Oakland is such a political town. Congressman Ron Dellums, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Out
right.
of
Thank you. Yes.
Oakland.
All from Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the park and recreation movement also affected our brother. That's why the story is family too. Our brother Aaron is now the commissioner of Parks and Recreation for the city of Tacoma, which is an elected position, and he's been elected to that position three terms.
Like 3 years.
That's awesome.
3 terms rolling, and he really, is so compassionate and passionate about Parks and Rec and what it meant for us growing up and what it could mean for young people today. And that's part of our story is what happened to the parks. And
what happened to all the parks and the nighttime games and.
So that's another very important thing that we want to tell that story as well. And that's part of our story.
Were the arts in the schools at all when you were growing up? Any of the performing arts or any type of arts? Period?
Yeah, I was in the choir in junior high school. We had a choir teacher named Miss Gillette who was fantastic. And she taught me a lot of things in choir back in junior high school that I still use when I sing. The using of your diaphragm and breathing techniques.
And stuff. Yeah.
I still use that. I sure do. Well, and she was a great teacher.
I mean, you all actually, as I was talking earlier, you all actually sang on stage, and you did your own, I assume, choreography yourselves, or dressed the part, did everything yourselves.
That's true up to a point, Larry.
Well, in the beginning, we did. We did get some choreographers in there.
Yeah, they started getting
Kenny Ortega.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Kenny Ortega was one of our first, and Demita Jo Freeman. And we even used Paul Abdul for one song.
Wow. I didn't know. That's interesting. I keep learning, Larry. I mean, my sister, Paula Abdul, wow.
Song called Gold Mine. She choreographed that for us.
Because you all were background singers as well, that is one of the most precise art forms that it's like in a league of its own. If you're a great background singer or great background vocalist or group, being in this, I just get in awe when I'm in the studio working with the background singers, because they all have their own communication. They all have this scientific way of doing it, themselves. Everybody's different, but it's an art form that in itself, it's like something totally different. But when you get on stage as a group, you're so used to being that group in the vocal booth and being a part of that group feeling. I know that had to help you all as a family on stage doing a professional show and sounding professional, because a lot of groups, they tend to have to actually have background vocalists. Even though they're a group, they need those extra.
They have. I've heard about that.
Yeah,
those groups that have background vocals behind the scenes. And we never had that.
But how did you become a background singer? I know that there's a funny story there, because I read a little bit about this, but you guys mind telling how that happened, that you became professional background singers?
Yes. Well, me, Anita, Bonnie, and June, we met. Well, it was a guy that I knew. Sorry about that, sisters. But we went to Texas, and he was from Texas. He said he knew all these people that could get us work, and this was after I heard Bonnie and June singing at the Northern California State Youth Choir at Fillmore West. And they were singing "Oh Happy Day" and the whole album from that record. That was a big hit. Yeah. And I saw them singing, and I was in the audience, and I just had a fit. I said, I got to do this. I got to try it. I want to sing so bad. It was just coming out of my throat. And I quit my job and joined the choir. And so we were doing, choir, singing with the choir in rehearsal. And then time for the trip we were supposed to take, everything was canceled.
Oh.
Everything was canceled. We were sitting with our bags packed.
Oh,
me and Bonnie and June. Mama had gotten us a $300 loan so we could have some money. And yeah. And they came to the door the morning of the trip and said, "I'm sorry, but the tour has been canceled." I'm like,
wow.
what? What do I do now? I quit my job. I got a baby.
Oh, wow.
You know? And then I met this guy and he told us about all the stuff he had going in Texas. So we went to Texas with him and he was just a forest. He made up all the people he knew, and he didn't come through on anything. He'd have us wandering around, waiting in front of people's offices, and they say they'll come back, and then they don't come back, and we just standing there. So, and we did sing a couple of songs in some clubs down there in Houston. There was a club called the Greek Cat Nightclub and Lounge, and me and Bonnie and June sang there. We sang Chain of Fools and Laura Nyro's I'm Gonna Go Get Lucky, and then right after the shows we did there, this guy that we were with put us out of the apartment because we weren't obeying him.
Oh,
I think he had another intention on. I think he wanted to do something else with the Pointer Sisters. That was insane.
yeah.
So he put us out, and we had to go to the girl that we had just met the night before at the club, and she took us in, and we tried to get home, and Mama said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you guys." She said, "I'll get my baby home, but you and Bonnie are old enough to take care of yourself. But June, I'll take care of." So she said she'd send for June. And then Bonnie just happened to have David Rubinson's card in her purse. And we said, "Well, can't hurt to try. We could call him and see." I've never seen this man in my life. He'd never seen me because I've never been to his office. Bonnie and June had been there, and he had seen Bonnie and June doing some backup singing with Michael Takamatsu. But just taking a chance, and we called David, told him we'll sing for him for the rest of our lives to get us back home.
Get us out of here. Get us out of this mess.
Let's get us out of here, please. And he got us home and immediately put us in the studio with doing backup singing.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. We started singing from David Rubinson, that backup singing with a group called Sun Bear.
Have mercy.
Yeah.
Grace Slick and Taj Mahal.
Yeah, we did Taj Mahal. We went on tour with Taj. He was fabulous. He's such a sweet guy. And he was the first one to ever put our pictures on an album cover. One of Taj Mahal's albums, I don't even remember the name of it. Something Mama, I forget, because we did backup singing on it. And he was telling us in the studio, he said, we would go in the studio as backup singers and say, okay, they play us the song and they tell us, okay, what would you sing to this? Yeah. They had no arrangements, no parts, no lyrics, nothing. We had to make all that up, and we did it. And we should have been getting paid for that, but we weren't. Taj told us then, he said, because we did all that on his stuff. We made up the parts. We sang the parts. And he said, you can get arrangers credits for that, not just singing credits, but you're also arranging all the parts.
Yeah.
And, and he was really, I was so glad that he turned us on to that so we could make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Larry, part of this story is the kind of tenacious battle for individuality because they were coming out of an era where everybody wanted to be like the Supremes or the Chantels, and they tried to pigeonhole them. And it was Bonnie. I just respect Bonnie so much for her. But Bonnie's saying we can sing anything. They say you have to choose a genre. You can't just sing jazz and country and blues. You got to choose. And they said, no, we've chosen. We're gonna sing it all. How about that?
Right.
Try that on for size. We're gonna sing it all. And they did.
And that's what I was going to say. They did, and did it well. They did it
marvelously. I have such respect for that, that they would not allow somebody to pigeonhole them. And it's that where David Rubinson, the manager, has often used the expression, they broke the mold.
Yes.
They broke the mold for female singers.
Performers,
You're not going to perform. You're not going to pigeonhole us as a background group or as an R&B group or no.
Yeah, because that's what they totally tried to do when we were at the Whiskey A Go-Go with Elvin Bishop, backup singing, and Jerry Wexler happened to be in the audience. audience. That's why when you're on stage, you better do your best. You don't know who's there.
That's right.
But Jerry, he happened to be in the audience, and he called David that night and said, I want to sign these girls to Atlantic Records.
Who was Jerry Wexler?
Jerry Wexler was Aretha Franklin's producer at the time. He was producing all her stuff.
Okay.
So he was a very accredited, high class, one of the best in the country. And he wanted us to be on his label. And so the next, I think it was 2 days later, they sent us to New Orleans to meet with Wardell Kazare, who was a producer who did Mr. Big stuff.
And who do you think you are, Mr.
Exactly. Big stuff. But they didn't like none of the songs we brought. We brought songs that we had written, like Jada, like, Shaky Flat Blues, and things that we later put on our albums, but they laughed at us. We had a Taj Mahal song, Cheney Do. They laughed at it. And we recorded it on our album later. But they told us, Black girls can't sing songs like this. You have to sing something close to like the Honeycombs or the Jackson 5. That's where we want to put you. That's what we're aiming for. The Honeycombs or the Jackson 5. And that's it.
That's it. That's right.
We were so mad because they wouldn't let us sing. Bonjour really got mad. She screamed so much that night, she almost lost her voice.
Oh, wow.
And we had like 4 days. Not 4 days. We had four songs to learn in one night. Wow. And those are the songs they recorded. Don't Try to Take the Fifth on Me, Destination No More Heartache, Send Him Back. And I think, did we do Tulsa County? Yeah, we did do Tulsa County. Wow. They took our country song that we had called Tulsa County and turned it into an R&B song. I was like, what? How could they do that? We like that song, country, the way it's written.
Right.
They turned it around, and when we went in to record, it was not a country song anymore. Well, it was terrible.
I mean, like Elvis, he recorded fairy tales. Am I right on that?
His heart. Yes, he did, and I never got to meet him.
Oh wow!
I met his daughter.
Yeah, she's
Priscilla. I didn't meet him though, and Priscilla.
Did you have to? Did you have to on your early writings or any of them? I guess did they make you give up your publishing or part of it? Or I know Elvis group was famous.
You know Elvis did. Him and who was the captain. Yeah, Yeah, they got it.
Wow.
I think they got half of it. Yeah. And then somebody else got the other half. So we were kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how they do artists.
Yeah, definitely.
That individuality also manifests itself in a scene we have in the book with Esther Phillips. Where Esther Phillips, they were doing we're on the same topic of background. They were doing background for Esther Phillips. She wanted them to dress like background singers.
Yeah.
Put on the sequence sounds, the bouffants, and all of that.
Like the Supremes, that's how she wanted to dress. We didn't have no Supremes money.
Yeah.
We had our jeans and our little t-shirts, our little bell-bottom pants, and we weren't going to go buy a wardrobe for her show. She could buy it for us if she wanted us to wear that.
Provide it yourself.
And then she's telling us to take the money. Now you take this money that I'm giving you, go buy you some wardrobe. We're like, we got to pay our rent with this wardrobe. We ain't buying no clothes with this. We got to buy food with this. Yeah, she was something to work for. That was a hard one. That was a real hard one. She was a tough little cookie. Little bitty thing too, but just as feisty as could be.
And you guys were known for your fashion. I mean, you guys really were not. It wasn't like and like you were saying, Professor, it really wasn't a pigeonholed look, because you kind of did. Well, I'm just going to say how I feel. I think what you did led to Cyndi Lauper and Madonna and all those type of. I'm not saying they're the racy things that they did, but in the early days when they were in their dance music and the more individual look and fun look. I think I read in somewhere that or saw one of the sisters interviewed that they said, well, and correct me if I have it wrong, but that they were saying, well, we were just kind of buying stuff at the Salvation Army and Goodwill. I mean, until we were able to later on, you know, come up with our more expensive clothes. But all those things that everyone was thinking we were paying and having made were just coming from Goodwill and things.
Right, exactly.
And then, you know, Cyndi Lauper and all of them borrowed from that, I think, and created, I think you were really trendsetters in that.
Most definitely.
Thank you. I believe that too. And the people used to come to our shows dressed. I mean, we went to Roseland in New York, and it was a whole event based on the 40s. And it was Pointer Sisters' big event for the first time one of the first times in New York. And oh God, the audience was just incredible. They loved wearing that 40s stuff. People love dressing up in all that, you know, the headbands and the, you know, the zoot suits and the
going out, girl.
Dressing up and going out.
Yes. And you know, some of this, in fact, a lot of it can be seen at the Hollywood Museum exhibition that Anita put together. That exhibits some of these costumes over the year. Just a fabulous collection.
It is. I'm so proud of it. It's such a beautiful collection. Things I collected from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 on until really now. But Donnell Danigan, who owns the Hollywood Museum, I happened to meet her at an Oscar party, which she was having at her museum. And I told her I had some things that I wanted her to see that I, you know, wanted to put in a museum. And she came over and saw it, and she was so blown away, and she loved it. And so we got it all into the museum. She said, "I'll give you the whole second floor." I said, "What?" And I didn't know if I even had enough to fill up the floor at that time, but we did. We filled it up and had to bring things back home. And also, there's the new museum in Nashville. Did I mention that already?
Yeah, we talked to it. Yeah.
Where you have a dress there.
That I have an exhibit there.
I want to go there. That's on my list, you know.
Me too. I want to go there, and I want to go to the Smithsonian in Washington too.
Yes.
Because they have an exhibit there with the Pointer Sisters as well. A small exhibit of our pictures, but I want some of my stuff there.
Did you get back flack? Like Whitney Houston, you know, she was mainstream, just being herself, and she got a lot of back flack from the Black community as being mainstream, not singing our music. Did you all get that as well?
Got that.
You did so many.
Yes, we did.
Genres?
They said we weren't Black enough because we didn't scream and holler, and you know, had the church kind of gospel stuff, you know, like Patti LaBelle and Shaka Khan. They have that down. There's enough of that, you know. But
they had a sense of style and dignity that came out of the 30s and 40s. People really appreciate it, you know. We go out, we dress up, we look good, and again, the what it took to dance and perform in heels. Did you?
I know.
Lord have mercy.
The first tour, I came home with bunions.
Lord,
I was gonna say, I remember you jumping up and down a little bit. Platform
heels and working on Carol Burnett's show. Oh my God, that was so much fun. But those shoes they had us wearing. Bob Mackie was the designer for that show. And I mean, they went all out. It was so incredible. Carol Burnett was really a sweetheart. And after the shows we did with her, we went to Vegas with her. We went to Tahoe with her.
Wow.
And after she gave us all the clothes that Bob Mackie made us for her show.
Wow.
And I was so happy because all we had was thrift store clothes. I mean, they were tearing up on stage. They were just, the velvet things would just disintegrate right on stage. So we were so grateful to get some new designer costumes. That was such a treat. She was a sweetheart.
Those are in the exhibition too, aren't they? Some of those are.
Yes, they are. Bob Mackie things that we wore on Carol Burnett's show. They're at the Hollywood Museum. And as soon as it opens back up, we've got to get up there and see it because it's a fabulous exhibit.
And I would say, you know, the well-roundedness of the group and the various styles of music that you guys did, it lended where you could go and do variety shows like a Carol Burnett show or like put together a Las Vegas show of your own and all of those things, to where if you're just pigeonholed in one, you know, one idea of thinking, you know,
that's already been done.
But did you have anyone who a legendary performer that said, "Let me give you some pointers," or you already got the pointers. Let me give you some advice or wisdom or anything like that, or maybe you didn't want it and they still gave it to you. But was there anyone like that stands out?
I'm trying to think if there's anyone.
Well, Carol Burnett, you mentioned Carol Burnett, who talked to what part of the story?
She did give us some advice on wardrobe, because we would take everything we had in our wardrobe room to on the road, and we get these big old cases that we would have to bribe the airplanes to put them on the plane, which was risking our own lives. And these cases were huge, and they're those big old heavy anvil cases.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And we get those. She told us, she said, "You don't have to take everything on the road with you." She said, look at it as a stage play. You take the clothes that you're going to wear for this song and for that song, and that's it.
That's it.
And you could do the same thing the next night, because there'll be a different audience. We were on stage thinking like, oh God, we can't wear the same thing twice, because somebody might be here that was here last night and they'll see what we had on last night. Oh my God. But she did teach us to just take it as a stage play and work it that way. Just take out on the road what you need and not everything you have.
Right.
I was reading in some of the press materials for the book. It says that the book details the story of love and rivalry for lead vocals and men. And is there truth to that, or was that just maybe someone who reviewed the book spin? Or
rivalries for lead vocals and men? I don't think men should be in there, but lead vocals, yeah, we all.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I thought, now I'm really interested in the book now.
We tried to balance, the lead vocals off, so no one person is the only one who ever sings lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we balanced it. Everybody got a good song, and and it seemed to work that way. But no one became a outstanding on their own. Bonnie tried it, and June did solo albums. I did a solo album, and it was, I felt horrible doing it, because it wasn't right. It wasn't the right time.
That's why I wanted to ask, because I thought, well, that how press can be, and since I didn't have the copy yet to know.
That was 10 excite the reader a little bit, get you interested.
Yes.
You see a bit of that.
Would you like the movie turned into a movie?
Well, we're talking to people now about musical play.
Oh,
there are also people interested in a documentary. There are a lot of different interests right now, since we have a product. And so we're just kind of weighing what the options might be, what the best ones are for us.
Who would you like to see play you if it was a movie?
Me?
Yeah. Or your sisters too. You can name
maybe Beyonce.
There you go. There you go.
I know Beyonce's laughing in her boots.
I'm sure she's a fan.
Yeah, I'm
sure
we're fans of hers.
She'd be honored to do. Are you kidding?
Taraji
P. Henson is
yes.
Good.
Oh yeah, all right. And Regina King.
King.
Yeah.
Yes,
she's
right.
doing some good stuff too.
Even Alicia Keys could play you.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm excited. I hope that that this book does just wonders. I'd love to.
Yes.
And I love the cover. Whose idea?
Thank you.
Was that from?
That's our first album cover.
That's what I was going to say. Was it an album cover? I can't remember.
That was our very first album cover in 1973.
Yes.
Yeah. I also have a book called Ever After. That's more like a catalog, I guess, but it shows all the costumes that are in the museum.
Love that.
Oh,
and it's just beautiful. Right. All the things. And we're just about tomorrow, Monday, I'm supposed to be getting Special Things book.
Oh, wow.
I can't wait for that one.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get a copy of that, Anita.
Yeah,
can they buy
definitely.
that at your website?
You did the first.
She keeps doing things,
yeah.
Larry, that I don't know about. and I find out about it. I'm like, wow. And our book came out, Larry, the same month that COVID hit.
Yes. So
we had no chance to promote at all, and so we're so
we had planned our
appreciative of
tour.
you. We appreciate you so much. She had television shows planned.
Yeah, we were gonna do it.
And all the signings
so
and
that's what we planned.
Thank you so much for thinking about us.
Really, thank you, Larry. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it, and all of you. We want you to get out, buy the book. If you order it now, we're going to give one away to one of our viewers, and thank you guys. Thank you so much,
Larry. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anita. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Fritz.
Subscribe to our mailing list and you could win a CD or DVD project by today's featured artist. To enter, please go to www.mrnashvilletalks.com and enter your email address. While there, take a look around, browse through our music store. Our show is totally funded by viewer support. Every t-shirt or music purchase from our store helps bring us new shows for you. For all of you watching on YouTube, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications. Again, just please, please, please hit that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications.